And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for, read the words with me now, for such a time as this. You probably heard that phrase before. For such a time as this. For such a time as this, you own a business here in Stockton, California to make a difference with your employees and the family in the midst of the city. For such a time as this, you are a school teacher here in the city of Stockton and the surrounding areas so that you can impact kids. For such a time as this, you're a doctor. For such a time as this, you're a government worker. For such a time as this, you're a mom or a grandmother or a father or a grandfather. For such a time as this, you are here to make a difference in this land. And Mordecai comes along with Esther and says, Esther, that whole beauty pageant thing, come on now, that was great, but God didn't allow you to win that for your agenda. He has a bigger purpose than that. Come on, Esther, you get this, you know this. I think about an election that happened this last year in the state of Virginia. If you remember, coming through the fall time, it was two candidates in Virginia for governor. And one of the candidates says, the school kids are ours. We're going to do whatever we want with them, basically is what his words were. The other one rose up and said, no, parents need to be involved with the school and understand what they're being taught and other things like that. And it swayed over to the one who said, no, parents need to be taught. That's the beginning of a movement there in Virginia, that government bringing the pendulum back over to say, no, families are important. Yes, schools are important, but they need to work alongside the parents and the family and those types of things. I think of the state of Florida right now. Remember what happened with Disney, as Disney is projecting their progressive left movement and trying to get their values and everything else out to children and families. And what did the governor, Ron DeSantis, said? Boy, it seems like it would be a good time now to evaluate if we still should have you be tax exempt in our state of Florida. Many of us didn't know that. We really didn't. Many of us did not know the millions and millions and millions of dollars that they do not have to pay to the government, and yet they have a free voice to just share their progressive ideas. Folks, you got to watch out for this. When I was growing up, it was the wonderful world of Disney, and it was a very family-friendly corporation organization. It is not anymore. Understand, praise God for a governor who will stand up and say, we're going to change this. If that's the way you're going to behave in this, we're going to change this because that's not the way that we see this going forward. Can one person make a difference? Absolutely, one person can make a difference. Absolutely. In fact, let me share it on the negative side. I spoke just a bit ago about the leak that came out from the Supreme Court decision. That Supreme Court is unified. That Supreme Court is at the highest. It seems like the Supreme Court has not gotten involved with a lot of politics and things that have gone in that way. But whoever leaked this, and I believe it was just one person. In fact, I believe it was just like an aide or something like that who came in and did this. They did it nefariously. They did it and they betrayed trust and confidentiality in that highest court to try and bring something about. Can one person make a difference in the negative way? Absolutely. You think about that and understand this. 1992, there was a court case. Roe versus Wade had been on the books for about 19 years. And many of you remember this. 1992, there were Supreme Court justices, 9 of them. One of them was someone who often had voted pro-life. That's what his convictions were. And it was a 5-4 vote, probably going that way. And Judge Anthony Kennedy flipped. Did not vote as he normally did. And he said that, you know what? I think it's okay for the long-held position of abortion to still be in place. And because of that, 22 million babies have been killed from 1992 until 2022. You know what that population is? That's the population of Kansas, New Mexico, Nebraska, Idaho, West Virginia, Hawaii, New Hampshire, Maine, Montana, Rhode Island, Delaware, South Dakota, North Dakota, Alaska, District of Columbia, Vermont, and Wyoming combined. That's how many children have been killed in the last 30 years. One person flipping their vote. Can one person make a difference for good or for bad? Absolutely. And we have hundreds of people in this room, hundreds of people who are watching online. Can you make a difference in your workplaces? Absolutely you can. In fact, I recall the poem by Edward Everett Hale. He says it very well. Here's what he says. In fact, would you read this on the screen with me? Let's read this together. I'm only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. The something I ought to do, I can do. And by the grace of God, I will. I will. That's you, that's me.